guys. The guy in the blue shirt is the homeowner. You guys may know him. He's Dan Muller. He used to be the coach of Illinois State Redbirds, a rival of my alma mater, Missouri State. I've been whistling the fight song at him all weekend, but he's been pretty good humored about that. And this guy over here is Gerry with Freedom Foam and Freedom Pools. This is his ICF project in the back. And Dan's up to a few things we'll talk to him about, but one of those things is building his own home right now. It's got an ICF foundation and this ICF pool. So, Dan, why don't you catch us up with what you've been up to the last 5 months, a lot of electric. The last year, building the home like you talked about. I started with ICF foundation walls, 10-foot basement ceilings all the way around, and I love it. And first of all, it's amazing how quickly you can put it up, and the fact that Gerry and his wonderful wife, his much better half, she's way better. The two of them are just in there knocking it out in like a day. It was amazing. But just with the basement, I was so comfortable with. We were wanting to get a pool, and Jerry's like, "Hey, I can do an ICF pool." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Absolutely, and still so a little bit newer. Yeah, so we decided to, as you see, go with it. But I've loved the experience. Gerry's been awesome, and huge ICF fan at this point. Awesome, that's fantastic. So you totally go ICF again? Yeah. I'm planning on building more after this. Again, this is my first build. It's our personal home, my wife and I, and the plans are to go into building around the Nashville area. So. Around the southern Nashville area, or wherever the customers beautiful are. House. But yeah, if as long as customer wants it, of course. Yeah, ICF foundation to me just makes so much sense with the structural advantages, obviously the thermal insulation benefits, and thermal benefits. I mean, it's a no-brainer once you understand it. Yeah. To me, yeah, and I don't know much about much until we start doing this. Right. But again, the pool I'm really excited about, which I know you've talked about it. Well, yeah, eco finish. I mean, you're getting the Cadillac. Absolutely, you're doing a hydromatic auto cover, micro bright lights, full Pentair automation. Yeah. You don't even know about all that yet, but you're getting. Yeah. Gerry's got it. Yeah, and I told you, like, I'm all about low maintenance. Yeah. So that, like, what can we get? Get quality, of course, that will hold up, that I don't have to spend a lot of time on, that we can enjoy it, and we don't have to refinish it every 5 years, 7 years, or whatever. And so that's why when Gerry's talking about the pool, not only you get the insulation value on the exterior, which is pretty cool, keep the heat in if you want to, and then the finish, and then you can make it any size you want, which you can do that with other types of pools also, but you can't do it with fiberglass, which our last pool was fiberglass, and we loved it. But being able to design the exact dimensions of this pool, especially exactly where you want it, centered on you got it centered on the main door coming out, and being symmetrical and everything like that. Yeah, so it's pretty nice. And Gerry, so I mean, I kind of got into a little bit of the pour. I'm going to get into more of it in the video here, but I mean, like first experience. I mean, you've done a few with me up in Missouri. You've done a little of this and that, and obviously you got the foam gig going strong. But first solo setup, you did almost all this forming by yourself because you wanted to learn it from the ground up. What was your first impression about the entire process? I know you said you didn't love the block stacking compared to what you've seen that I'm coming out with. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think your new systems, I think it'll be much better, more user-friendly.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be less finish work, stronger.
But it's this way is not that bad either.
It's not that bad. So I'm used to doing like foundations and houses out of
regular two-sided block.
Double-sided foam ICF. It's totally different. There's a lot of my headache was the one-sided dealing with the wood side,
right,
where it's not locking together like a traditional foam double-sided block.
That's
So there's a little bit of a learning curve there, and then like you mentioned with our almost blowout here.
Yep.
It never even dawned on me that when I built the stairs in, I took the plywood off the other side, so it was literally the webs were still there, but it was just.
But there was nothing holding on to them. Right. Yep. And I didn't.
So it was a good catch. I'm glad you were happy to be walking by. And you're
I know. I didn't see it beforehand, but during the pour, I just saw him standing there, and I'm like, there's nothing over there. And I stopped him, and then I went and looked, and wow, yeah, it was on. Yeah. But yeah, I think it went great, guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Dan finishes this project up, and we'll probably bring you some other progress when he gets it finished. I know Eco's going in about a month, so the pool will be done way before the house. He'll be swimming this winter.
Yes. Yeah. Heater.
Correct. But guys, it was a lot of fun the last couple of days. I'm going to go ahead and get into the rest of the video, and I'll see you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
Good morning, YouTube. We are in Columbia, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. Gerry is putting the finishing touches on his first solo Monopour ICF pool. Gerry owns Freedom Foam in Nashville and now Freedom Pools. He's been to a couple of our trainings and builds pools just like we do. He has an eco-finish machine. I'm gonna give you a little pre-tour of his trailer later. He probably won't want me to do it because it's not quite done, but it's considerably better than my setup already. But his concrete guys are on their way. Concrete trucks are at the plant getting ready to back out and head our way. But he's doing a Monopour with the one-sided fill block hard walls. He's gotten a good look at my system that's coming out early next year, and he's pretty excited. He wasn't a huge fan of the hard walls because they're considerably more tedious than the basement I'll show you guys in a little bit that he did. It's a 5,000 square foot ICF basement. But this one's gonna be pretty cool. He's monopouring the stairs and everything all in one shot. It's about a 45, 50 yard pour. Go to the very middle one first. So you guys see this little bow here. I'll show you what these zonts can do so easily. Just back it off there. A little more, a little more, a little more. Okay, go to the next two, the ones on the outside of that. What he's gonna do right now is give it a little bow the opposite way because you kind of want these walls lean. A little more, a little more, okay. Go back to the one closer to me. He's gonna give it just a little lean into the brace because it's much easier to push out. Look at that, look how much this thing moves. It can do the same thing full of concrete, a little more. And then go back to the middle one and hit it one more time. There you go. Now go back to that middle one and hit it. So you kind of got to go back and forth. You can only go so far before they start fighting each other. Perfect. See, now he's got a little bow the opposite way, which is going to be a little better for when we go to straighten it at the end. And we are off, guys. So what Gerry's going to be doing is, you've seen me do it a million times, he's going to be filling up that bag at the bottom of the wall. This load is 4,000 PSI concrete. It did have plasticizer in it. It now doesn't. We got this thing, he poured a little more out. It's still really nice, firm concrete. What they do, you know, we always talk about this with the plasticizer. Plasticizer will add 2 to 3 inches of slump, but we order it at a 4 and then we want to plasticize it to a 6. And that gives us a way to place it in the bottom of the footing and have it still stiffen up and kick off to where we can stack the wall in a monolithic pour where we pour the walls and the floor all at once. These guys, not knowing, you know, not listening, they basically plasticized it at the concrete plant to a 4, which means it's a 1 to 2 inch slump. And that plasticizer is gone in 30 minutes, which means they got here at a 1. The plasticizer's gone. You know, it's not really ideal, but it's totally fine. It's just going to make them work a little harder on this first load. But that's what they need to, the plant needs to understand what plasticizer does and what it's for and how to use it, or else you're going to work a little harder. All right, guys, so that calcium's kicking off. They're having to add water. You see it stacking up in that wall. Look at that, it's barely even coming out. This guy here is pounding on the wall, which is what we really promote doing. That knocks all the air bubbles off the wall, making it a lot smoother substrate. But he's moving along, he's plugging up. It's going good. Just gonna have to work a little harder on this first pour. It's stacking up. He's gonna be able to fill this wall before doing hardly any of the floor, which actually is what we like to do, but maybe not quite this stiff. But okay, guys, so this is the showing you kind of the guts of the stairs. I'm gonna get into why they almost blew out in a few minutes, and show you kind of more of that toward the end of the video. But Gerry did most of this forming all on his own. I got in the evening prior to help him just look over everything, make sure it looked good. I missed that little bit on the stairs and almost had a blowout, but you can kind of see the boys here working on the floor. Walls are already filled. Stairs are about halfway filled at this point. So here you can see the blowout, or near blowout, and Gerry managed to stick some 2x4s in at an angle behind the stiff backs behind the zonts. which was enough to hold the pressure back long enough to get the rest of the concrete placed. Did not affect the top of the wall, the straightness or anything, because the Zont and Zuckel system from Fabform really holds wherever you put the braces, regardless of what happens to the wall, it's not going to move. So really not a huge deal, but could have created a good bit of extra work. But you can see here the guys are kind of Fresnoing down after they've screeded everything. And you can see that they've still got their braces down in the concrete. We usually try to get the stairs placed early enough in the game that we can pull it before that, just because it creates a little bit of a mess and work, because they had to knee slide out and get those out after they knew the stairs were going to hold. That's kind of the trick with monopouring stairs, but it's kind of nice. Also, got to give a shout out to the guy from Streamline Concrete Pumping. I preach about concrete pump operators making or breaking your job, and you should shop around for one that actually gives a crap. This is one of those guys. He's very similar to my boy John Martin in Springfield, that just really, is a master of his craft. So great job for him. I stuck around the next morning long enough to help Gerry. I was concerned that first truck was going to create some honeycombing, and it did in a very, honestly, less than I expected, but I stuck around, helped him patch that up while the wall was green so it can be curing out with the wall. He's got a good bit of prep to do before the Eco guys come to run him through his new brand spanking new Eco machine, but he is off and running in the Nashville market, guys, and you couldn't have a better guy building your pools in your market. All right, guys, we'll get into the postmortem a little bit here. We're going to talk to the homeowner and Gerry, but real quick, I'm going to hop down in here and show you an almost bad day. Everything went really, really good. Overall, I give this pool a B+ on the pour. Most of that was due to the reason it wasn't an A+ is 90% the concrete plant not doing plasticizer the way you should do plasticizer, and I'll get into that in a couple minutes. But I missed something when I came in here. I had about a couple hours the night before and then the morning of the pour, and he did the stairs where he cut away a lot of the webbing, and I saw it, but I just kind of figured it was going to be okay. We should have put plywood on this entire backside of the stairs, and I happened to look at this kid that was running the pump, and he was just standing right here on over here on the stairs, and I just kind of hollered at him and said, "Hey man, you need to move quick." And I didn't even see this yet. I just walked around. I knew watching how much mud he was putting in there, and we just about had a pretty solid blowout over here, but we didn't. And the main thing that was wrong was the first load. You'll know if you've been to my training or anything like that. I always promote using super plasticizer and calcium. We want stiff mud to get liquefied on site with water reducing plasticizer, and then we want the calcium to kick it off so we plug up the bottom of the wall, and we can continue pouring the wall and the floor at the same time with no cold joints. This plant, plasticizer, as you guys know, only lasts about 30 to 40 minutes. This plant believes in dosing the plasticizer at their plant 40 minutes away. So, and we ask for a 4 plasticized to a 6.5, and they plasticized it to a 4. So the first load came at a 1 to 2, and we had to put a bunch of water in it to get to a 4, and we placed it at about a 4, a stiff 4, and we got a little bit of honeycombing, just a little bit down through here. We've gone ahead and patched it, now while the wall's still green. There's a whole process. This pool's getting eco finished. As you guys are watching this video, though, you've already seen a video I did about a couple gunite pools Gerry took me to on jobs that he is foaming with his Freedom Foam business, and kind of showing, look how good these walls look, and they're not prepped. They're not ready for eco. This is day 1 of their cure, and look how good they look compared to those gunite walls I showed you. So, okay, that's it for this week, guys. Gerry is building a fantastic pool, and Dan is building a beautiful home in a beautiful setting. I will see you guys next week. I'll leave you with some parting shots from the drone.